After this discovery, sleep ceased to be safe. At first, it seemed like a coincidence. Someone would wake up with a scratch and remember a dream about falling. Another would limp, despite being healthy the night before, and dream of being chased. Doctors attributed it all to psychosomatics. But when burns began appearing in those who dreamed of fire, it became clear, dreams were no longer safe. Scientists noted a pattern: the more vivid and emotional the dream, the more severe the consequences. Nightmares became especially dangerous. People were afraid to fall asleep, but fatigue took its toll. Every dream turned into Russian roulette. No one knew how it would end, minor pain or real injury. Night was no longer a restful place. It became a risk zone. The first fatalities appeared. People died without external causes, and dream recordings showed the same thing: falls, drownings, ruptures. The heart couldn't bear what was happening in dreams. Governments declared a state of emergency. Sleep ceased to be a private matter. It began to be regulated, controlled, and studied as a potential weapon. Special sleep clinics were created. People were hooked up to sensors, deep sleep was suppressed, and dreams were erased with drugs. Dreams became rare, dim, and fragmented. But the side effect was even more terrifying: without dreams, the psyche began to deteriorate. People lost memory, emotions, and a sense of self. The choice became stark: either risk their bodies in dreams or lose their minds in waking life. The black market was quick to emerge. Quiet dreams appeared, illegal drugs that promised safe nights. But many of them distorted dreams, turning them into traps. People paid for the illusion of safety, only to wake up with broken bones, burns, and internal bleeding. The more a person tried to control their sleep, the more dangerous it became. People began sleeping in shifts. In families, someone always stayed awake to awaken the other at the first sign of a nightmare. City windows burned all night. Coffee and stimulants became a necessity. Fatigue accumulated, but the fear of sleep was stronger. Falling asleep became an act of trust, in those around you and in your own consciousness. Schools and offices restructured their schedules. Official wake hours and supervised sleep sessions were established. Children were taught lucid dreaming techniques from an early age. They were told, if something goes wrong in a dream, they should wake up. But the fear ran deeper. Not everyone could distinguish dreams from reality when the stakes became too high. Theories emerged. Some said dreams were a portal through which the body experiences alternate versions of life. Others believed that the brain began to rewrite reality through the subconscious. But there was no proof. The only thing everyone knew for sure: dreams could no longer be ignored. They had become part of the physical world, and they had to be treated as a real threat. The protagonist noticed a strange detail. His dreams were dangerous, but predictable. If he fell in the dream, a bruise would appear the next morning. If he ran away, his body would be exhausted. But if he accepted the dream and did not resist, the damage was reduced. This went against all the instructions. He began experimenting, risking more than the rules allowed. He realized, dreams punish fear. The more a person struggles, the more aggressive the dream becomes. Panic intensified the consequences. Calmness mitigated them. This discovery was dangerous. If he spoke of it, people might begin to ignore safety precautions. But if he remained silent, humanity would remain captive to the night. The protagonist began sharing his observations with a select circle of people. They tried entering the dream consciously, without running away or resisting. The results were frighteningly consistent. Injuries became less severe, and sometimes disappeared entirely. It was as if the dream was testing the person to see if they were ready to accept what was happening. This broke the traditional logic of survival, where fear had always been considered protection. However, not everyone endured. Some, having rejected fear, lost control and died. The line was thin. Consciousness required strength, and not everyone could maintain calm in the face of a nightmare. Society was divided. Some demanded even more rigorous dream suppression, others wanted to learn to live with them. Sleep became a philosophical question, not a medical one. States tried to conceal the new theory. They wanted controlled fear, not inner freedom. Sleep clinics tightened their regimens and increased the medications. But this only worsened the situation. Suppressed dreams became more violent. People woke up with injuries that even doctors couldn't explain. Sleep took revenge for the attempt to strangle him. The hero decided on a forbidden experiment, to completely immerse himself in sleep, without suppression and without protection. He knew he might not wake up. In the dream, the world was distorted, dangerous, but alive. Instead of fleeing, he walked toward the threat. And the deeper he went, the less pain his body felt. It was as if the dream acknowledged his choice. When he awoke, he was whole. Not a scratch. For the first time in years. This was proof. Dreams weren't enemies. They reflected a person's inner state. The greater the fear, the more dangerous the dream became. The night only intensified what a person brought with them. The danger wasn't born in dreams, but in the attitude toward them. The hero's discovery began to seep out. People, tired of sleepless nights and trauma, risked trying a new path. They stopped fighting dreams and began to observe them. The initial results were uneven, but a trend quickly emerged. Those who entered sleep without panicking woke up unharmed. Night ceased to be an enemy for those who stopped fighting it. Society changed. People were taught not to suppress fear, but to understand it. Schools introduced classes in dream work. Meditation became more important than medication. The world was still dangerous in dreams, but the danger had become honest. Sleep ceased to punish blindly. It became a mirror of one's inner state. And for the first time, people began to wonder, perhaps it had always been like this. Not everyone accepted the new order. Some preferred to live without sleep, on stimulants, in constant wakefulness. They considered dreams too personal and frightening. But with each passing year, the number of such people dwindled. Because sleep deprivation slowly eroded the personality. The night, no matter how dangerous, remained a part of human nature. Over time, the trauma disappeared almost completely. People still had nightmares, but they no longer woke up wounded. Danger remained only within dreams. Reality became safe again. But their attitude toward the night changed forever. Sleep ceased to be a refuge. It became a test, honest, personal, and inevitable. People understood, dreams do not cause harm in themselves. They only amplify what a person brings into the night. Fear made them a weapon. Acceptance turned them into a path. And when humanity stopped fearing their own dreams, the boundary between night and reality became strong again. Danger disappeared. Consciousness remained. Over time, people noticed a side effect. those who had not dreamed for a long time began to lose touch with reality. Their reactions slowed, speech became dry, and memory fragmented. Sleep, even dangerous sleep, turned out to be necessary. It was not an enemy, but a process of processing what had been experienced. Deprived of dreams, the mind began to break more quietly, but more inevitably, than the body. Communities of lucid dreamers emerged. They taught people to accept dream images, not to fight them, not to run away. Their method seemed frightening, to voluntarily enter a nightmare. But statistics showed that they suffered almost no injuries. Dreams responded not to threat, but to resistance. The less a person struggled, the less harm the dream caused. Governments were slow to recognize the new approach. Control was more convenient than understanding. But the truth could not be hidden. People began sleeping without drugs, relying on lucidity. Trauma dropped sharply. Dreams no longer penetrated reality. They remained scary, strange, unpredictable, but once again became a personal experience, not a death sentence. Humanity reached this conclusion too late, but it did so nonetheless. Dreams did not seek to harm. They merely intensified what a person brought with them into the night. Fear transformed them into a weapon. Acceptance, the path. And when people stopped fearing their own dreams, they again became what they always had been, a reflection of the inner world.